welcome everyone to another InventRight.com YouTube show. My name is Andrew Krause, and I'm the co-founder. We've been coaching and mentoring inventors for the last 19, going on 20 years. We're coming up on our 20-year anniversary, if you could believe that. I want to welcome an InventRight alumni. Her name is Joan Smith to the show, and Joan is one of our success stories, but she is not our typical success story. In what she licensed is a little bit different, and so this is going to be a lot of fun. She didn't license a product. You're like, Andrew, what are you talking about? She didn't license a product, but rather what she licenses her artwork that went on companies' products. So I've got a bunch of questions for you, Joan, in this area. This is going to be a lot of fun. And what I liked what you said when we said we're going to do this interview, you said, I think it'd be really nice if we let people know that this is a thing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think people know that licensing artwork to go on products is a thing. They hear us talking about licensing products all the time. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. It'd be great.
Happy to. Yeah.
So my first question for you is, have you found that companies are open to this?
It's probably a little bit like product licensing, depending on what you're licensing and what space they're in, where they're at on the shelf and all that sort of thing. I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning, knocking on doors that they weren't in that space. They didn't even know what licensing was, that sort of thing. So, I tried talking people into it, thinking, well, you have to license artwork. You've got products, come on. And, it was a foreign concept. Luckily, I was able to talk two of them into it, and they understood the value of it. And that was a good thing. But otherwise, I would say for people that are getting started in art licensing, save yourself the time and energy and headaches of maybe not knocking on those doors that aren't as typical to begin with. Get your feet wet, get comfortable, and feel, confident with yourself and your artwork first in companies that are. So then, yes, you will find that they are receptive, because without you and your artwork, their products are naked.
I love it. Her products are naked. I love that sales pitch. So, it doesn't sound that much different than product licensing or licensing invention, in that you don't try to license your dog toy to a company that sells mattresses, and that's an extreme example, but it's the same here. If you see that they're putting artwork on their products, my guess is then you're like, I think they might be open to artwork licensing to put more artwork on their products. Is that the basics of it? Do you have any other tips there?
Yeah, I would say that's actually a really good analogy of the basics of it. And just start thinking about every single thing that has artwork on it. This mug does. This mug does. These napkins do. Just things like this. Like somebody created this artwork and they've licensed it. So without this would just be a pink napkin. Mm-hmm. So those companies, they need you to do that. So I don't know. I feel like I might even have been kind of late to the party when it comes to licensing artwork on products, because it has been a thing, kind of for a while. Where I felt success and I guess validated in what I did is that I took the principles that I learned from InventRight and applied them to that. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't maybe do what other artists typically do and go to art shows and bring their portfolios and set up their booth and everything, which a lot of them do. And that's great if that's what you want to do. But I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know. This is what I have learned from InventRight with product licensing. Let me just see if I can morph that over, and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
So sometimes, do they actually say on the back of the package, will it say licensed from, or will there be a copyright that is not that company but another company? Can you cheat a little bit? A lot of times they'll have licensed it, but it won't say that on the back of the product. But sometimes, do they, or not most of the time?
That's a good question. I have to say, I'm looking at a coaster right now, and on the back of here, it just gives the name of the company that's probably doing the printing, the manufacturer of this company, and there's a copyright symbol. I know for a fact that an artist created this They do not have the artist's name on here, however. So I'm not sure actually in this case how that worked. So if you're licensing to this company, you are probably turning your copyright over to them because they're not going to say, copyright Joan Smith. They
Right.
own
Sure.
it, kind of
Sure.
thing. Yeah.
Have you run into any companies that they say, yes, we do artwork, but we do all our own? Kind of like non-invented here syndrome. We just invent from inside. We don't take any outside ideas. And maybe some companies, they do some of their own artwork. They license some of it. Maybe they do both. Maybe they just do licensing just from people. Maybe they just do their own artwork. Has any of them told you, no, we just do our own artwork from our in-house design department, or do most of them also license artwork?
Okay, another good question. I would say in my experience, it's been about 50-50. Once, before I really knew what I was doing, and I was just sending out pitches to people I thought should have my artwork on their stuff, they would, say, "Oh, sorry, we have our own in-house designers, thank you, blah, blah, blah."
Right.
Um, but once I kind of got the gist of it and realized, oh, okay, there are companies that are actually looking for it. And I started pitching to their guidelines and their submission guidelines and everything. Then it became pretty evident. I'm going to say there are hundreds. There are hundreds of companies looking for artists
Well,
with artwork.
probably thousands. I mean,
Yeah,
if you think
probably
about
thousands. Yeah, like
yeah.
I bet you right now I probably have a list of over 100, but that's just me and my scope of the type of artwork that I do. So if
Well,
you,
let's talk about that. That was going to be my next question. That's a perfect lead-in. The type of artwork. It's the same with licensing. You license dog toys. The company sells dog toys. You don't call a mattress company. You try to license your dog toys to a mattress company. It's the same thing with artwork. They're going to be doing certain types of artwork on certain types of products, and it's just kind of obvious, but people don't always think about this. Like you may have like little cartoony, fun, quirky stuff, but this company's kind of artsy fartsy, kind of Salvador Dali or I'm not an artist, as you can tell. I was thinking, I was trying, or Renoir. It's a certain look, right? So does it make sense? I'm kind of answering my own question here. I apologize for that. But does it make sense to send artwork to a company that's already making products with that type or that genre of artwork? Or have you gone outside of that, and has that worked for you, or is that a bad idea?
no, hmm. Okay, here's an example, kind of to answer what you're saying. So here's another mug. I have this. So the artwork I do is kind of fun, tongue in cheek. I like funny, humorous, inspirational, motivational. That's my thing. Funny would not fit on here. This looks a little more, like my grandma would like this or
Right.
something. But that's not to say that this company, it says Portobello by Inspire, maybe this is just one of their collections. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
they have this, butterfly line or it looks like bone china kind of line or whatever. But they might have a humor category also. You'll find that a lot of these companies um, kind of have a broad range. I remember when I was starting to pitch, yeah, some of them would have a category for um, like beach themed things, and then they'd have a category
Mm-hmm.
for humor, and then maybe nature, those sorts of things. So maybe within there is a place for yours as well. So if you're finding a mug like this, don't necessarily ignore it. Look at the bottom, find out where it came from, Google it, and do a little search. Doesn't hurt to just pick up the phone and call them too, and just say, hey, this is my style. Wondering if you take outside submissions
Or
from.
or look on their website and look. They might have all their different lines on their website and
For
see.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure. You never know what's coming in the pipeline, though, too. It's like,
Mhm.
here's a really weird thing is I pitched to this company one time that made bird products. And the reason I pitched to them is they actually bought a company who used to produce drinkware. And I have a lot of like wine humor and cocktail humor type of stuff.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And because they bought that company, I had to call them. So when she picked up the phone and she answered it like sort of bird company, I thought, well, I've so got the wrong number. And she said, no, we've acquired them. She said, so I guess never have, I don't know, an assumption. Just try. You just never know.
Yeah. I got two last questions for you.
Yep.
What do you send? It's a little different. Normally, you'd send a sell sheet pitching the benefits of your product. Do you send them the samplings of what you think might fit with their line and say, I think this might fit on your such and such product? Or is that what you do? Or
Yeah, actually, pretty much. Learning how to do sell sheets with InventRight was completely key to me going forward with the art licensing, because then I could take the art that I did, pop it onto a sell sheet, and then at that point, I was getting to the point I didn't need to hire out, doing the sell sheets. I just kind of formatted them myself in an artistic way, and yeah, sent them out. So
nice.
absolutely, absolutely. There will be submission guidelines. So there's nothing more frustrating, and you probably know this also from the whole product licensing. There's nothing more frustrating to the people on the receiving end of submissions not to read what they're requesting in a submission. So same thing goes for art. If they want 5x5, send them 5x5. Don't send them
Yeah.
8x10. You'll just never hear back from them.
Right, right. So, the reason why I asked you on is you're really becoming an expert. You are an expert in this area now, licensing artwork. Do you mind if I ask how many products you've licensed? Any pieces of artwork for the product? I'm so used to saying
Yeah.
product.
Well, I actually call them products too because each and every one I've had to sit here, I've had to learn. I am self-taught actually at graphic design. So even though I had to draw things, I had to figure all that out. And each thing I take, each thing I draw or make a graphic design, I structure it and I make it either in, Illustrator or Photoshop, and then that becomes like a little breathing product. And so I might have a collection of 6 of those then that I pitch to somebody. So I say it is products because it took me a long time to create each one. At this point, I have 425 plus.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
at least actually.
All right, and
So
you're going back to a lot of the same companies, I take it.
you know what? I have 3 that are golden for me, and I've kind of got this relationship now, which is really good because things are trendy in the art business.
Mm,
Um, and this, I guess, like this season is summer. They're not looking for summer things for this year. They're looking for Christmas 2020 sort of deal.
right.
So you better get your Christmas 2020 stuff together now, submit it. But now that I have an open door there, I can just literally phone them or send an email and say, you know what, I had this great idea for such and such. Do you want to see it? And they'll say, yeah, or no, you know what, we're not looking for that. And
Right. Nice.
it's about
Nice.
relationships.
Joan, thank you so much. Super helpful. And I'm so glad that you help people understand that this is a thing, licensing artwork for products, and it is a thing.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Oh, you're very welcome. Happy to help.
All right, everybody, take care. Keep inventing. We'll catch up with you next time. See you. Bye.